In this spectacle of horror, they have always been so private, those closest to the victims. Today, glimpses of their anguish. Richard Kikot was a friend of Salim Essens.
In the moment when whatever was happening between him and Bruce McArthur, and he realized that this was going down, that terrifies me, and I can't help thinking about that. Just like was in his heart at that moment, he must have been terrified.
Tangled in this sordid story, they are the most broken. Friends, mothers, brothers, wives. Court heard one emotional victim impact statement after another. From a friend of Skandaraj Navaratnam. Having someone that I loved dearly killed is another level of loss and life-changing. It puts your spirit and faith into question. From Majid Kahan's brother. I don't know that I can properly describe the pain and suffering that I and my family have gone through over the years, and I believe that this suffering will continue to affect us forever. From Abdul Basir Faizi's wife. My daughters suffer terribly knowing what happened to their father. They pretend to be strong in front of me, but when they are alone in their room, they take a picture of their father with them. I hear them crying. Wrenching to hear, too, when Farina Marzouk started sobbing as the Crown read out her statement. I was overwhelmed with grief as I could not eat nor sleep. I was no longer interested in the activities that I enjoyed prior to getting the news of my husband's disappearance. These symptoms appeared to be a continuation of an emotional reaction to the trauma and grief of losing my soulmate. Complicating that pain, many of the victims came from conservative backgrounds and led double lives. Their horrific murders outed them. Karushna Kumar Kanagaratnam's family, here from Sri Lanka, say they can't fathom how he crossed paths with a gay serial killer. They're beyond brokenhearted.
No sleeping every day. There's a angry. There's a very, very bad situation. My family or my.
Especially Kanagaratnam's mother.
She's crying always. She keeps on crying.
The Crown referenced that pain often, calling the case haunting, the crimes abhorrent. In court, arguing McArthur should serve at least 2 consecutive life sentences with no chance of parole for 50 years. A guarantee he would die in prison and spare families from the endless prospect of a parole hearing.
And Joanna, on that point, what's the defense saying?
The defense is arguing that that is unduly harsh and says McArthur should serve all his sentences concurrently. That means serve them all at once, and he would be up for parole in 25 years when he's 91.
And do we have any indication as to what the judge in this case thinks?
We're certainly getting hints because Justice John McMahon several times today mentioned the fact that by pleading guilty, McArthur did spare the families the trauma of a trial and that he is struggling with what value to place on that. The Crown acknowledged, yes, that is true, but countered that by saying McArthur didn't stop killing, he was caught.
Okay, thanks, Joanna.
You're welcome.
Now, as Joanna said, if Bruce McArthur receives the recommended sentence, he will surely die in prison. And those longer than life sentences have a long history in the U.S., where some are measured in centuries, but they're fairly new to Canada.
We as a country noticed a problem in terms of the sentences that were being handed out for multiple murderers, and we changed it.
In 2013, for killing 3 co-workers, Travis Baumgartner was given no chance of parole for 40 years. It was Canada's harshest sentence since the repeal of capital punishment made possible by the Harper government. You see, families of victims had long argued that when multiple life sentences for multiple murders were served at the same time, it devalued the life of each individual victim. So in 2011, judges were given the option to stack up those 25-year periods of parole ineligibility. Since then, at least 5 of Canada's most notorious killers have been sentenced to no parole for at least 75 years.